right, guys, this is the first video of a giant series. I guess it's a series. I did this thing the other day, right? This video right here, writer's block, right? I had this writer's block, and I wasn't feeling it, right? I needed some help. Y'all guys came through. Now, it was not a very viewed video, I'll be honest with y'all. I don't care about that. Wasn't the point. The amount of comments I got on it were insane. So that kind of shocked me. I mean, more comments than I would ever get on that much of a viewed video. So it's been a week. I looked at some of them. I didn't go through all of them. And today was one of those days where I was able to do a lot of things. I was getting a lot of stuff accomplished, different videos and all this stuff. And I go, okay, what? I've been scared to death to do this, but I'm like, what if I make a video? Someone said, hey man, why don't you do a video like every day? And I'm like, dude, you know how hard that is to make a video every day? So on something like this, I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to get in like every other day. Now there's might be times where I get in every day, but I'm gonna try to answer a question every single day, and let's see how long it'll last. I'm gonna try, right? And I'm gonna try to put in other videos as well, like the regular stuff. So here goes. Here's the first question. I literally started at the very first question that was going. I actually went through like 10 of them, and I was gonna pick, and then I'm like, no, just start right at the beginning. So here it is. What boat do I like best? Now, the problem with a lot of these videos I'm gonna do are they're not like, when I say political, I'm not trying to be political in them, but I mean, you're kind of asking me a loaded question, and some of these questions are not really questions I would normally like to answer, because one, some of them are so complex, right? I'll get into the ones that are complex. Like they would take like 20 videos for me to get. Some of them I've already done, and I don't know what I'm going to do as well. I got to tell y'all this. I'm going to, there's like 100 videos I have that I don't think most of you subscribers have ever watched. If you just scroll down, like there's some phenomenal ones that I did right off the bat when I first got into it. I'm gonna revamp them because they have like 1,000 views, and I can't even believe I released them. They're so good. There's just some old videos that are like phenomenal, and show some stuff I would have never really. I didn't even know. I was like, should I have ever even shown this on YouTube? And I did, and people aren't even watching them because I think they're down in the list so far. So anyways, here it is. What boat do I like best? Well, I haven't been in all the boats, so I can't really tell you. Here's what I know. My buddy owned a Ranger forever, okay? I've had a buddy who owned a Triton. Now, when I say this, the Ranger was back in early 2000s. The Triton was back in the 90s. I owned a Stealth at one time. My first real bass boat was a Stealth, and then it was a Skeeter, okay? None of those were really new. My first new one was a Legend, okay? It was a Legend, and I liked it. Now, granted, it's the first brand new boat I ever had. Of course I'm gonna like it. And this is gonna be the problem. Like, you're gonna ask me a question, and the problem is this, is that I've rarely met someone that didn't like their boat, right? Or that was like, hey, that other boat's better than the one I have. Everyone brags about their boat. I try not to do that so much, although I love my boat. So my first one was a Legend. It eventually went to the Legend V20, which I liked better than the other one. I thought I liked the first one better because it rode better. What I started to realize about boats, though, is that first 211 I ever had, that first Legend, it ran so good in rough water. You had to run it really fast in rough water. Only thing that scares me, and what I've learned about that, is although it can do something, doesn't mean you should do that. So it's like having a 4-wheel drive truck and going mudding in it every day. It can do it. It's not gonna last as long if you do it every day, right? I mean, anyone that goes 4-wheeling knows that like things tend to break. You put it on the highway and it never sees a pothole or anything like that, and it stays on concrete, and you're not in traffic, and you just drive it normal. Your car will last like 25 years, right? Same thing with boats. So, I like the boat because I lived on Rayburn, and I lived in places that like I will always need a boat that can handle rough water. It's my number one concern. If you meet a lot of the guys in Louisiana and certain places, like they'll talk about their gamblers and stuff, and about how fast they go. And yeah, so that's the last thing I'll ever talk about. You'll never hear me talk about how fast a boat goes. Won't do it. I refuse to. It's the one thing I care least about. If it goes over 65 miles an hour, it's fine. Like the guys that go, I can get 73 instead of 71. Okay, I guess. I'm still old school, and I'm not saying that a boat's performance isn't good, but I just don't care. I mean, I rarely drive that fast. The only time I drive that fast is like tournament day. Other than that, I'm driving 40, 45, 50 tops ever. I get better gas mileage. I get better everything driving that fast. So like, I just don't go fast. So I rarely care about how fast the boat goes. Plus, my boat has everything in it. My boat will never be the fastest boat. I put a whole bunch of stuff in there because I care more about having a whole bunch of baits and tackle and everything I need for a day on the water, rather than getting 2 miles an hour more. So, with that being said, I eventually, when Legend, went away, I got picked up by Ranger. Of course, I loved my Ranger. Rangers were awesome. It was great. However, I knew the old Rangers, and then my buddy Russell had Rangers, and I fished with him forever, so I was used to them. What I didn't realize, and what's hard to realize, is when you're with a company for a long time, you see the good and the bad of how like boats are made, and sometimes you get better boats than other boats. What I'll say is towards the end, before Ranger kind of dispersed and Bass Pro and all that stuff, I had some guys that owned Rangers for a long time start to complain about them. I wasn't complaining because I didn't really know like how they got boats every single year. And so when that happened, right, I didn't know what was going on, that this was a big deal or not a big deal. I saw some stress cracks somewhere, which usually don't even bother me. I care less. But they were like, I've never seen stress cracks right here, blah, 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 all this stuff. When they got rid of all the pro staff and did the whole Bass Pro thing and got rid of people in the organization and all kinds of stuff, Ranger went a different direction. And I think 90% of the people that were with Ranger went a different direction too. I didn't know what I was going to do. Luckily, my dealer, Fred, okay, Diamond Sports Marine, who I talk about all the time, will once again be talked about in this video. I have to bring this up because if you're going to ask me a question like this, all I can give you is my answer. It's my honest answer. I've never BS y'all. I've never told y'all. I mean, if you ask anyone else, they're just going to get out here and go over their entire boat and tell them it's the best boat ever. I'm not going to do that. That's not, I could do that, and I would tell you what I like about my Skeeter. But my point is not everyone's going to buy a Skeeter. I get that. I like my Skeeter, and I'll tell you why. But when he did that, Fred at Diamond Sports was selling two boats. He was selling a Ranger and a Skeeter at the same time. I didn't necessarily was going to go with Skeeter. I didn't know. I talked around. I knew the boats that I weren't going to go with. Not because they were bad, but because I thought they were overhyped or I wanted to see what direction they were going in. I didn't mind trying to get with a company that was kind of moving up as well, what I thought. There's some problems with that though, okay? There was a few boat companies that I looked at that I thought about going. The problem is when they refer you, usually a lot of times, even us, they refer us to a dealer. Okay, a dealer close to us. Well, the dealer that was going to be close to me was not close. They had never really been in the bass fishing industry. And one of the dealers I had before anyone was Philip Croya down there in Center, okay, when I was with Legend. Philip was a bass fisherman. I fished against him. He beat me a whole bunch in fishing, like phenomenal fisherman. There were times though, something would happen to my boat, regardless of what it was. Dude, I'm telling you, that guy took stuff off of his own boat and put it on mine, whether it be a compressor or whatever it was, and be like, hey man, I know you're going to fish this tournament. I'll order one. Take mine off my boat, and I'll get this new one and do whatever. I'm not even supposed. I don't even know if I should be saying that. But the point was, he was trying to keep me on the water, right? So I never looked at boats that way. I'm like, man, I'd rather have a great dealer. So when you ask me about a boat, I'm always going to refer you to the dealer. Okay, first, that's your first thing. If you've got a great dealer, it's amazing how much you'll like your boat better. Okay, so most boats are okay. Like, they're usually good by now, right? I mean, it's hard to buy a bad car these days, hard to buy a bad boat these days. You get a boat, you put a whole bunch of stuff on it, right? You put a motor, you put freaking electronics, trolling motor, all this stuff. My boats are pretty good. My dealer takes care of my boat. Okay, I have a Skeeter. I love this thing. Like, when I say it took me a while to get used to, every boat takes you about a month to get used to it, and all of a sudden after a month, and this has been 3 years now, but after a month I was like, love this thing. Learned how to drive it. When I say learned how to drive it, I always knew how to drive it. I want to know how to drive it in 5-footers. I want to know what can it do in the worst possible conditions ever, and that's what I did. I learned. I was like, oh, this thing freaking handles all this stuff. No big deal. Perfect. I care more about how it handles in really, really rough water. Can it hold all my stuff, all my junk, all my fishing stuff? Is it pretty? Skeeters are pretty. I never had to worry about that, luckily. The colors that I picked on, like, this is the prettiest boat I've ever had by far. It's not even close, the one I got now. So then I looked up and I'm like, my dealer's close. This isn't going to happen for everyone, but you might look into it. Skeeter lives in, like, the whole organization in the company, they're an hour and a half away. I can show up to the factory whenever I want to. I'm not saying that's for everyone. I'm just saying, like, that's a big giant deal. I'm able to work with those guys, and if they ever need me for something, like I did God in the Great Outdoors the other day, that they were the ones who reached out for me to do those seminars and everything. That was a Skeeter thing. That was a Jeff Woolridge reaching out to me and asked me to do that. I'm like, absolutely. For all the stuff they've done for me, it's the least I could do for them. So I know that's not for everyone. I get that. But then again, you know, that's the kind of company they are. I didn't get asked by Ranger to do stuff like that. I didn't get asked by Legend. Now, Legend was good. Randy Qualls and Legend, like, they did a lot of things right for me, right? Scott Arms at Ranger did a lot of things right for me. They're not there anymore, right? So I've always been, for the most part, taken care of. Skeeters, those guys aren't there anymore. I don't know who's there. Like, I couldn't even tell you who's a part of any of that stuff. I mean, Legend's gone. Ranger, I don't know who they deal with. I don't hardly know anyone that has a Ranger anymore. I do know the people at Skeeter. I know my dealer. Skeeter's awesome. In this day and age, what's going on now is more like, what are you putting on your boat, right? Once you have your boat, do you have Garmin's like I have, right? And I'm gonna get into a whole video about my Garmin's, because I've got all Garmin's, Garmin trolling motor. I had some videos planned out, and it was kind of more or less about my year this year, and about how, as of right now, I won Angler of the Year in the Toyotas, Angler of the Year in the Texas Team Trail. I'm in, I think, 6th place in the Opens, in the division I'm fishing, and we're leading. Me and Russ are leading Angler of the Year in the Brandon Belt. I've had a year. I've had a phenomenal year. I have to contribute a lot of that to the Skeeter and Garmin, and I'm gonna explain why. The batteries I have in this thing, my impulse batteries, I'm gonna explain that. My power poles, you know. So I'm going to go do all that. I'm going to eventually do a video. I'm going to do all that. I want to do all that because it's a big deal. It's a giant deal. I've thought about this. Like, guys, you know, I'm a thinker and I think about things, and I'm like, why did I have, I've had good years before. I've had a lot of good years. But then I thought about the ease of this year. And I want to, like, I've had good years and had to struggle through them and have to make things work. This was a total fishing year. This was a year where I dedicated everything to fishing. I didn't have all these other things pop up. I didn't have to worry about getting my boat fixed or this or that, or all these different things that happen in fishing. I got to fish and just fish this year, and it was nice. That's not always the case. So I got the 75th edition 2023 Skeeter. It's been great. I love it. I mean, I was gonna do a whole video about I have to go wash it because I'm gonna shoot a TV show, Let's Fish TV, with Andrew in a couple days. So I'm about to go wash it because I've been out here messing with it and getting things, you know, messing with tackle and stuff. So I got it out right now, and I gotta go wash it. Like, I want to go clean it up for this video. But yeah, guys, I mean, all I can say is this: I've been in my buddy's Phoenix before. Never been in a Blazer, never been in a Camus, haven't been in a Triton in 20 years. Never fished out of a Nitro. I mean, I can't tell you about those boats. I don't think any of them are negative. Like, I don't think there's a bunch of negative boats out there. Like I said, check out your dealer. Ask people around about their boat, not about what they like about their boat, right? I mean, if you come in and ask me about, I can tell you all that in about 3 to 5 minutes. It's nothing wrong, but I'm gonna tell you the other stuff that maybe you need to take into consideration, because I think that's where guys mess up. Because if your boat is working all the time and running all the time and does what you want it to do, you're going to love your boat. Well, I have a dealer that I trust that no matter what happens to my boat, he's got it taken care of. I know Skeeter is gonna take care of me. Not because I'm, you know, anybody special, but I think they're going to take care of me because I think that's who they are, right? I can't say that about everyone else. That part I can say. I don't think everyone else is like that. I can honestly say that about Skeeter. So, you know, and maybe y'all have different experiences. I'm not sure. I love my Skeeter. I really do. It's been phenomenal this year. Like, I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. Like, I've always, in this fishing industry and stuff, I've always wanted to like live and die with what I started with, right? I hope to live and die with Strike King and lose, right? I mean, I hope to, when I stop fishing, I still want to be with them. I still want to be with Power Pole. I want to be with Garmin. I want to be with Skeeter. I want to be with those companies, Yamaha, you name it. All the sponsors I have, Sunline, I mean, Owner. It's why I don't switch around sponsors. I've tried. Very rarely have I switched. What happens is that, like, either a company goes away or something like that. It's not like you never see me switching year to year, right? Costa, been Costa forever. So I like those companies. I wouldn't be fishing. Y'all see all my videos. Y'all see that I use all that stuff, and I use them. I don't randomly pick and choose when I use them. You've never seen me without a pair of Costas on in my entire life, right? You've never seen me not throw Sunline. I've had power poles on every boat I've ever owned. And my Garmin's, oh my gosh. Whenever y'all are seeing me how I do my whole Garmin setup, y'all seen me with the Jones Marine, right? And electronics. Like, I'm doing a whole series on hooking them up and installing them. And then the next thing you know, I'm gonna go out there and we're gonna do a whole bunch of Garmin stuff. I finally have time. I'm trying to get Hackney down here to go with me. But I mean, I talked to him today, so we might be getting something together too. I'm gonna go work on all this stuff. I don't know. I hope that answers your question. It's a lot longer answer than I was expecting. I'm gonna try to do this every day. So that's question number 1. On to question number 2. All right, see you guys.